self-care, self-love, self-worth. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Beauty by Cara. I'm Chanel, and today I want to talk a little bit about being a special education teacher. Being a special education teacher, being a teacher in general, being a teacher in New York City. So I accidentally came to this career because when I was younger, I wanted to be a singer, right? I wanted to be a superstar, blah, blah, blah. So that didn't work, right? I didn't continue in that lane. So I was like, what's the next best thing? I was like, I guess summer's off. I get to just be home, I get all these holidays off. Let me just be a teacher. So that was the reason why I went into the profession. But long and behold, I enjoy this so much. I enjoy working with kids. I enjoy watching my kids grow. I enjoy watching the smiles on their faces when they go from a level A to a level D, and I'm sitting there crying with them like, oh, I'm so happy for you. Like, we be sitting there like, Miss Caravaggio, I'm so happy. Like, I'm a level O now. And I'm like, yes, you're not even in the third grade yet. You're level O. I'm so happy for you. Yes, that helps with my data, right? Like, showing how my kids grow. But watching them get so excited and say, oh, Miss Caravaggio, can you please tell my mom? Can you text my mom and tell her what I did? Like, you want kids in your class, like, that feels like that. Like, I'm just saying if you're a teacher, right? So those little things in my first year, that is what made me fall in love with teaching. Like, I wasn't always in love with teaching and becoming a teacher and being a teacher. When I started teaching, I was like, oh my God, I love this, right? And being a special education teacher is very challenging. First of all, we do not get paid more than GE teachers, unless you work in D75, and that's only because you work an extra month for the year. That's all. But special ed teachers and general ed teachers get paid the same amount of money per year. That's it. It's a pay scale, right? And it goes by your years of experience, your credits, your degree. So I have my master's. I've been working for 7-8 years. And I don't have my 30 and above, right? So some people have their 30 and above, which means 30 extra credits or your PhD or a second master's, but I don't. And I'm not getting it. I'm not. So, and it's public record. You can go on Google and you can find out how much I make per year. Like, you can. Because you just know how many years a person's been working, what degree they have, and you can see how much they make. It's public record. And it's challenging, though, being that with special education, the kids that you get, here's what's challenging. Okay, let me get my thoughts together when I say this. I want us to be very clear. What's challenging is when you have kids that are diagnosed, misdiagnosed, or evaluated, right? And they're not evaluated the way that you think they should be evaluated. Or what you're getting, right, on this paper, say it's the IEP, what you're getting on this paper is not what you're seeing in front of you, right? So now, say like I have Adam. I have his IEP. I read through his IEP. It's saying all these different things about Adam. But when I get Adam, he's a totally different kid. So you have to now figure out Adam while you're coming up with your lessons. And mind you, there's 12 of these kids that you have, not one. You have to figure out this child, the ins and outs of this child, what this child likes, doesn't like, what could motivate this child. If one of the deficits of this child is that the child lacks focus, right? One of the things that the child focus struggles with is that this child lacks focus. So now you're trying to figure out everything that you could do for this kid while coming up with lessons at the same time. And then you have 11 other kids to do that for. So you're learning them. And don't get me wrong, yes, I am a special ed teacher, so I have to do the IEPs and focus in with these kids, but I have a class of 28 kids, and those other kids, those GE kids are still my kids, right? When I say that, because I'm in an ICT class, sorry, let me backtrack. I'm in an ICT class. So, and I've been in an ICT class. So I have 28 kids. Just because these 12 are special ed, I do have others who are GE that I'm responsible for. We're both, me and the GE teacher, are responsible for. And it becomes a lot when especially you have GE kids who are not evaluated, who needs to be evaluated, right? Who have struggles just, if not more sometimes, than your special ed kids. So now it comes into play where now you have to sit down, you have to make your groups, you have to figure out how to do small group work to be effective, to reach these kids, to teach these kids. If you have a kid in the second grade, but they're on a kindergarten level in reading, and you have to teach second grade curriculum, how are you getting this kid that's on a kindergarten level to understand what's being taught on this level? What scaffolds are you putting into place to help this child understand the simple things, right? Because the books that we're reading in the reading curriculum are on second grade, sometimes third grade level, is above their level. So that's 3 levels above that you're asking this child to understand. What happens in math when now you have a kid that's on a kindergarten level in math? The kid can't even write the number 6. Don't know the 6 from the 9. Don't know what the number 13 looks like, but you want them to start subtracting and regrouping. What do? So this is where the unfinished learning comes in. This is where the balancing, where to do the unfinished learning for the kids comes in, and where to continue trying to push them. Now, this year in the school that I was in, I'll miss all my coworkers at that school that I was in. Like, I'm glad I'm leaving because I needed a different surrounding. I don't know, I'm trying to put it in the best way, right? I need a different energy, but my coworkers were amazing. Like, we're amazing. We worked well together. We worked well to come up with ways to help the kids. And the class that I was in, me and my co-teacher and the paraprofessional that was in my class, we split up that class like nobody's business and got work done. The paraprofessional, oh my God, Tina, she was like God sent. She's like a teacher. She's the teacher, right? Yes, she's a paraprofessional, but she was the teacher. It was 3 of us. And she handled this group of kids. Now, not only were they IEP kids, right, special ed kids, but they also were language, right? Their first language is Spanish, and she was the language power for them, for these group of kids. She took that on. I mean, we would rotate the kids in and out and everything, but she had that group that was her babies, and she had those kids move. And let me tell you something. They didn't all meet their goal, but even the ones who didn't meet their goal went from a level A to a level D. Listen, that kid went home smiling and was happy, and I'm happy that kid was happy. It was just amazing. But it was a lot of stress. There were days that 3 of us would just look at each other and go, oh my God. And we would have to pray. I'm always talking about praying, but we had to pray because it's a lot of wanting to make sure you do what's right for the kids, And it's a lot of making sure that you're not overstretching yourself to the point where you want to break, right? Like sometimes you have to do is you can't go too crazy with all the prepping and planning for everything and doing 10 different things just to see if it will work. Like at times you have to like sit back, take a breather, and just say, let's go back to the planning stage and stop just throwing things out there, right? Because listen, YouTube is great, right? And I found myself on YouTube trying to come up with different strategies for my kids, my different kids and everything like that. And sometimes I would get overwhelmed with all the information, all the things I would try to do, that I would do a disservice for my kids. So I had to step back and I had to just like try to simplify everything. And simplifying everything made it better for my students, right? In special ed, you have kids who are focused, have issues with focusing. You have kids who have behavioral issues. You have kids who just have a learning disability. Some kids have 3 things wrapped in one, right? So a big thing is knowing, understanding each child. I took it very seriously, that SEL that came into play. During that time, I spoke to my kids and I connected with my kids. What did you eat last night for dinner? What happened yesterday? Like, talk to me. Did you go to sleep happy? Did you dream? What did you dream of? Making sure your kids are comfortable with you and have a way to connect with you is so important. And to me, their ability to let go of their anxiety, because a lot of kids deal with anxiety, and let go of feeling embarrassed. And they'll become more comfortable in even being able to reach out to then learn something. Because some kids have a wall up. Because as they get older, right, it starts setting in like, I may be learning differently from everyone else. It could be a brother and a sister in school, and you have the sister who's in 2nd grade reading at a higher level than the brother that's in 5th grade. Now, we don't make them feel different, right? But when they go home, right, say like she's reading a level N and he's reading a level F, and they're 3 years apart, that kid knows that there's something wrong, that there's something different, right? So you want to speak to these kids and let them know certain things are okay, and everybody learns at their own pace. Coming to work and just saying, I'm just coming here to collect a check in this profession is downright disrespectful, right? And I don't like to see it. I like to see teachers that give their best and give the most that they can to these kids, because they need it. Like, I'm not talking about because they need it because their mom is not there or their dad isn't there. I'm talking about they need it because their parents can't really explain these things like we can to them, or have these type of conversations with them, because their parents didn't go to school for this. Their parents don't understand this world. We have to have these conversations with them and let them understand that it's okay. Let them understand, yes, you are reading at this level, but your progression is what is important. And you focus on the progression. And long and behold, that advice will lead them in their other parts of their life into a great space, because they will always understand it's not where I am right now, but it's where I'm fighting to be in my progression to go. And I feel like being a special ed teacher, like that has taught me for my own self. Like, speaking to these kids has also been a form of help for myself. You know what I mean? What you tell them, you have to practice as well. But I have to show them what it is. I have to have great stories for them. You have to have great examples for these kids. These kids are not dumb. They're not slow. They don't need you to read them Cinderella. They want to know what really is going on. They're very bright. and they have street. They have, remember, this is New York City. They got street sense. they got it. They know it. You're not talking to like these little babies, right? Even these babies are not babies. So it is a lot, but putting your heart into it is what makes it end up being great, you know. And I would say finding the school that best serves you. So the school I was in, it didn't best serve me for what it is I want to do in my life, right? I have other things besides that profession I want to do. So that school is all about that school and teaching, and that's it. Teaching first. For me, it comes family first. So I wanted to be in a different school, a different atmosphere that appreciated that. So my family comes first, my business comes second, and then it's teaching. Like, that's just the way it is in my head. So I needed to be in a space where people respected that. So now I feel like I'm in that space. Now I know I could flourish even more. I'm going to miss my kids from my old school, but it's okay. It's okay. I still live in the neighborhood. They'll see me. But yeah, so, you know, and being a teacher in New York City, I think it's great. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think it's amazing. I think that you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about these kids. There's so many different, backgrounds and families that you get to encounter. You get to learn from different cultures, you know. Oh my gosh. Sorry. But yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with New York City. I think to me, it's the best city ever. The best city ever. I that's just my opinion. I don't want to leave, you know. If I have to leave, I have to leave. But I don't really want to leave New York City. Like, I think it's the best. But if you are out there, you want to become a teacher, I would just say this. It's a lot. And from where I wanted to just say, oh, well, I'm getting my summers off and holidays off, to now, I realize, like, it's not worth it. Like, it doesn't equate. Now, it does help when you are a mother that you're off when your kids are off. That'll always help. But that money does not equate to the time off with your mental, because it's a lot on you. It's great, but it's also a lot, right? You're dealing with a lot emotionally because, listen, you have 28 kids, 30 kids. You're taking home a lot of that energy all the time. You just are, right? You're worrying about your kids all the time, worrying about their families, what's going on with this family, that family. Listen, through COVID, I had about 2 or 3 kids whose parents passed away. You're on remote, you're talking to these kids, and he's pointing you to the box where his father is. Like, you're dealing with a lot with them. So just understand that, like, you know, when you are in these other professions, you leave your work at home. I mean, at work, and you go home, right? I'm still getting messages from parents 7:00 at night. You're still trying to figure out what you're doing for these kids the next day. It's not a new person you're seeing. It's the same person for 180 days, right? Like, you're building. It's like a little family that you have to cater to, all aspects. And now they want you to be not just a teacher in the school. You're like the little social worker as well. You're like the little nurse. You're the little therapist. You're the little everything for these kids and for their families. So it's a lot. So just if you want to go into this profession, just be prepared for that. Like, if that's what you want to do. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say to do or not to do. Just be prepared for what it is. It's not as simple and easy as everybody thinks. It's not. It's not. It's not. And I don't think that has anything to do with New York City. I think that has to do with wherever you are in this world, or at least in this country, when it comes to teaching and what you're taking on. Okay? But that's my little spiel on being a teacher a special education teacher. And if you guys want more in depth on exactly how I do my IEPs, how I do my SDIs, how I organize certain things, just, leave a comment down below. You can message me on Instagram, DM me, anything, and I will get that to you. Okay? Bye.